Bendiciones, everybody. Alafia. So, today we're going to talk about what was the thing that walked me into Ifa. hmm And in particular, Isese Ifa. Okay? Because when we get into Orisha traditions, there are different variants of those traditions as they found their way around the world, right? As Yoruba people traveled, so brought with them the traditions. And so to start this, I have to start with this person right here. I have to start with this woman, okay? Um, so this right here is my great grandmother, um, Grandma Uka, okay? And this is my mother's father's mother. Okay, so this is my mother's grandmother through her father, and this is my great grandmother, Grandma Uka. Okay. Now, my mother's side is from Puerto Rico. Okay. And in Puerto Rico, there's a lot of traditions that we find. One of them being Santeria, Lukumi. So you find that in Puerto Rico. And then the other common one is Espiritismo, which my mother's mother was a practitioner of. So my abuela, my mother's mother, she was a practitioner of Espiritismo, what other people may call Puerto Rican voodoo. So yeah, this is my grandma Uka right here. Okay. Now, my grandma Uka, she was a practitioner of Santeria. Okay. So she was heavily into the tradition of Santeria. People in the family knew about it. She was lit with a practice. Okay. So that's my grandma Uka. Now, understanding that part, now we can move forward. You see, because when King Brujo talk, I show my lineage. You know what I'm saying? I show where things come from. I show receipts. Even if it's receipts on my own self, I'm going to show you where it came from, the source. All right. So starting off right there, that's my great grandmother. That is Grandma Uka. Um, you know, and Grandma Uka, when she was here, she was deep in the culture. And she loved my abuela, by the way. Even though my abuela, my mother's mother, was not in Santeria, she was in Espiritismo. Oh, Grandma Uka loved abuela because that connection of the traditions, you understand? And Grandma Uka also loved my mom. Like my mom was like her favorite grandchild. Okay. Mind you, um, my mom is one of 11 siblings, right? And so that's just like a little thing. So we're gonna all of this, it matters in the end result to what we're talking about, because this is how ancestral ties are so critical to these traditions. But for some reason or the other, people just don't realize that. They just think you can just wake up and just pick and choose what you want to be. That's not how this works. Mm-mm. Your ancestors choose who's going to be the ones that go to what. That's what happens. So now understanding that little piece of King Brujo history, right, of my little lineage, um, you know, obviously that shows how heavy Yoruba was in my family line, where it never really broke. Because when you go past Grandma Uka, people were still practicing. You get what I'm saying? Just like my abuela. When you go back before my abuela, her parents and parents, grandparents, and they all was practicing Espiritismo. You understand? So through my mother's side, the tradition is very deep rooted amongst the grandparents and further, you know. So when it came to me, I grew up closer to the Espiritismo. That's how I became a brujo. Because when you practice in Espiritismo, Sanse, Puerto Rican voodoo, these are paths that are brujo type of paths. It's not like Orisha tradition where you have such a strict priesthood or such a structure. It's not like that. In these other practices, it's a lot of folk magic involved. It's a lot of mixing of cultures that went into there where people kind of develop their own secret sauces amongst the families that practice. Okay, so that's what you're looking at when you see practices like Puerto Rican Espiritismo and Sanse, and this is what you're looking at. You know what I'm saying? So the priesthoods, it's not like Orisha tradition. Mm-hmm. So it sends you on a path that's more like a brujo's path, where you kind of may or may not be dissociated from other priesthoods and things like that, right? So in my life, I grew up along that path of Espiritismo. That was what I learned. And I kind of, not that I strayed away from Orisha tradition, because I never strayed away from it per se. It was just something where like I knew a lot about, of course, because it's in my lineage, but I didn't actively go to pick it up, right? So I didn't make the decision to actively pick it up. Now, as life continued, this is when there are certain callings in life that you cannot ignore, you know. And Grandma Uka was relentless with dragging me into the tradition. And this is just a side fact. Children of Eshu, and a lot of priests will tell you this, the children of Eshu have a tendency to come into Ifa later, or maybe they don't even go at all. And the reason for that, there's a lot of reasons for that. But children of Eshu often can even just reject going to the tradition because they don't like to feel tied down. Mm-hmm. The children of Eshu don't like to feel tied down. They don't like to feel bounded by rules. They don't like to be feeling like they're governed by anything. They kind of just like to roam and do their thing. And that's why if you notice when you get closer to the culture, you will see how Ifa treats the children of Eshu as far as they don't put as much restrictions on the children of Eshu. And there's reasons for that. Because it's like already the child of Eshu probably hesitated before even coming in the tradition for whatever reason or the other. Another thing is a lot of children of Eshu have strong personalities. Or they're awkward type of people sometimes where like maybe they don't fit into like a societe, maybe into a ile. Maybe they don't fit into an ile or anything like that. Maybe they don't fit in so much with the way things flow with other people all the time, right? And so it can naturally just kind of shy them away and they just go doing their own thing. A lot of brujos are children of Eshu. Mm-hmm. And so with me, it was no different, right? But as life continued, I started to get dreams. These dreams, they just wouldn't stop. They started lightly, right? And they would be dreams that were more so initiatory, as like if I was going through certain rites of passages. And the dreams, they would just first they was mild, and then they just kept getting stronger. Then it was so blatant the way that Orishas were manifesting, especially Eshu. With Eshu, it was like, come on, son, enough is enough. Like, you've been walking like this, okay, it's lit, but like, come home all the way. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a path that you need to be on. Because up until that point, you got to think, I built my life off of Puerto Rican voodoo. Everything that I wanted, I got it. I'll say it again. Everything that I wanted, I got it off of Puerto Rican voodoo. Straight like that. So I didn't feel the need to take on any other tradition. For what? Everything I wanted, I got it right off the brujeria. And this is when I learned a very important lesson. It's not about what you was able to build in your life off of what you were doing. Some things is deeper than that. And this is what people have to know. Some things in your life, when it comes to lineage, it's not about what worked for you and what you were able to build with. They're actually ancestral debts, ancestral ties, and debts that have to be satisfied. And that's what I had to learn. I had a debt to my egungun, to my egun, right? I had a debt to my egun that I had to satisfy. So much so that it even speaks of this in my Odu. In my Odu, which your my life Odu, which you get when you get hand of Ifa and stuff like that. In my life Odu, it speaks of coming into the tradition through my mother's lineage. Even though I didn't walk into Lukumi, I walked into Isese. It's still Orisha tradition, right? That was just how they brought it to me. Different people may be brought into Orisha tradition different ways. So for me, they brought it to me like that. And I walked in through Isese, which is what you find in Nigeria. And this even comes through my Odu, where it speaks of needing to satisfy the maternal side of my family. And that maternal side being the guide. So all this was written. You know how church people say it was written? All this was written already. I didn't know all this. It was written though. Even to this day, there are certain things that I have to do regularly to exalt that side of my lineage, the mothers, right? And this was deep, man. Like, as I started to realize, I said, dang, I can't ignore the call no more. And so I decided, I have to satisfy that part. And so therefore, I walked deeper into the tradition and decided to take my certain rites and passages, right? But, even with doing that, I still operate as a brujo. Because I'm still a child of Eshu. Eshu children are going to do what Eshu children are going to do. So you're not going to see me on here with, in Isese, it's not so much like Lukumi or what you find in Orisha, where the concept of godparents is so strict. It's not like that in Isese. You have aluos, which are people that you hold in high regard, that can loosely translate to godparent, but it's not really so literal. You know what I'm saying? You can have different mentors come and teach you stuff in Isese. That's how it go. Or, you may learn something from a temple and then go about your way. That's Isese. That's just how they rock in Nigeria. Mm-hmm. So you're not gonna see me under somebody like that. That's just, there's some people that are because they're in Eles, right? And then you have Eles in America that are now more so trying to mimic the church and structure themselves after the church. So you have that going on, but traditionally, that's not the way that it was. You understand what I'm saying? So, like in my case, my godparents is like my abuela. You understand? Like things like that. And then along the way, I've had people that have come and taught me things. I've had people that have come and guided my journey where ancestors have brought certain people in my life to teach me a thing or two, and then they go about their way. You get what I'm saying? Um, and that's just the nature of Isheshe. Now, different people, once again, they may find comfort in different things. Some people love the fellowship. So those people, you may see them at every bembe. You may see them mixing in all the time with people, and then they steady in contact with whoever was a part of their ceremonies and things like that. And then other people, you won't see that with them. So I'm more still like the other people. I'm a brujo. I don't really fit in to that type of thing. That's just that. Brujos are brujos. But brujos still, at times, have to satisfy ancestral debts and ancestral contracts. They're not above that. They're not. And so, understanding that, these are the things that led me into going deeper into Ifa. And even now, maybe one day, I may go to get Itefa, which is like a more grand ceremony where you get initiated into a specific Orisha. And you become Awo. There may be a time where I do that. And even in doing that, guess what? A Brujo is a Brujo. Because why? This is Isheshe. So you begin to have your priestly duties, but then you still have your way, right? And then you live in that way according to certain guidelines that spirit may have showed you to help your life not get out of alignment, right? So this is just so people can understand the traditions, because it's very common, especially in the Latin community, for people to practice more than one thing. You often see this in Cuba. Somebody will practice Ocha and somebody will practice Palo, the same person. In Puerto Rico, it's common to see somebody in Lukumi and somebody in Espiritismo, the same person, right? This is common to see, especially amongst the Latin community, because these different traditions might be in that same person's lineage, and for whatever reason or the other, they needed that. I needed Espiritismo, and I needed Ifa. And so in my lifetime, that is where the path led me. Everybody's is different. Everybody's path amongst these things is going to be different from the next. Ashe. Even when you're going into initiatory rites, as you go deeper, other forms of initiations, just because in Isheshe, just because you are a child of Oshun, doesn't mean that you're going to get initiated into the house of Oshun or into the cult of Oshun. That doesn't mean that, you know. Your Odu may speak of another Orisha, and it makes sense to get initiated into that Orisha. Even though I'm a child of Eshu, my Odu speaks of other Orishas. Maybe I'll do that like another lesson. For people in my mentorship, I'm going to make that a bonus right now. So the people in my mentorship, y'all will get that lesson now. The general public, maybe I'll do it, maybe I don't do it. I don't know. So that is, the nature of that. And that's the beauty of ancestral practice. Because spirit literally will drag you into a thing. Literally will drag you there. And you go kicking and screaming, but you're going to end up there. Believe that. And just a word of advice for other children that issue, don't keep Ifa close, okay? No matter, like, even if the minimum is like going to get Isefa, just go get your Isefa. If that's, if you found out you was a child of issue, if you know from a Baba that you're a child of like an Orisha, likely that is your path, all right? So if a Baba came and you was a child of issue, I'm just going to tell you from experience, just go walk the path and at least get Isefa and get a Rumila. Just at least do that. You know what I'm saying? All right. And learn that good. And then, when you need to come to your Baba for various things, just go to him and make sure things are in alignment. You know what I'm saying? And, daily, every 4 days, you will check with a Rumila in issue and keep things on your own in alignment. And then at times, maybe you have to go do Idafa and do that. You know what I'm saying? And that's what that is. But I just give that information for the people that are on this journey, because I know that there may be other people listening who have that calling, that Orishas are calling them, right? And if that is you, you should continue looking and peeking in that direction and digging up what you see until it leads you to the people that can satisfy those debts, to help facilitate the connection with those Orishas, formally introducing you to certain things so that your life can move in a way that you don't have to repeat the same things in the next lifetime. You don't want to have to keep coming back doing the same stuff. You don't. That's a terrible thing. You want to do the things that you were supposed to do now, learn the things that you were supposed to do now. Maybe you don't even have to come back. Maybe you can become an Egun, and ride off like that, right? Maybe you do so much that you become Orisha when you leave, right? These are like different things, but all that conversation, what I just said, that go deeper. Okay, that's a deeper thing. So yeah, family, and this is once again, this is why I made a mentorship for people to come learn and find their ways through a guiding source. Because a lot of this have to do with lineage. A lot of this have to do with your blood and where your DNA really came from. All of that plays a factor, As my cat is going off in the background, I don't know if y'all can hear it, but Obatala often comes through cats. Just a little side note. Obatala can often come as a cat. There's a reason for that. Obatala actually loves cats. But that's like another story. Maybe I'll talk about it another time. So yeah, family. when we talk about these things, I always like to bring the credibility on the table so you can see where things come from. Um, I'm one who I don't like to take on too many responsibilities spiritually. I'm one who don't like to dip and dab in so many traditions because there's a lot of responsibility. That's how I hesitated before walking into Orisha tradition, because I knew that once I crossed the line, I got to rock. You know what I'm saying? For real. And I already have so much responsibilities with Espiritismo and my Santos, you know? And so that's why, you don't see me coming on here teach teaching y'all about Palo Mayombe, breaking it down, or teaching y'all about Haitian voodoo. No, I lightly touch on things like that if there's correlations, right? I lightly will touch things with correlation. That's why you don't see me offering all these different type of spiritual works. I got my own brujeria that I learned over time that I learned. And, from that, I've been able to help a lot of people. And Ifa is something that is personal to me that was able to add enrichment to my life. That now I say, wow, I can teach somebody else a thing or two that can add enrichment into their life, because I know people are searching, and I know. You see? And so that's what I do. But like I said, maybe one day it come to a time where I offer work from Orisha, consecrated Orisha. And that will be a beautiful time, right? But until then, I have received the things that I have received. They work very well for my life. They're very beautiful in how they move and the things that they're able to do. And I have the privilege of being able to share my abuela's tradition of espiritismo with the people who need the direction from that, and the guidance from that, and the help from that. That is beautiful. I'm able to have my santos that were given to me from my abuela, that were passed on, that can continue to guide me and show me the way, And that's the beauty. That's the beauty of tradition. I didn't need to read a book to tell me how to live. Spirits came and showed me things. You get what I'm saying? That's the beauty of traditions. You go into these Abrahamic traditions, and it's one book that got broken into a bunch of denominations, and that book tells you how to live. So multiple people have the same instructions on how to live. African spirituality is not like that. Even in Ifa, there's 256 Odu. And those 256 Odu, even when they fall, let's say one person had the same Odu as another person, right? Their Odu might have came down in a different way. His Odu came down in Ire, his Odu came down in Osogbo. They got to handle it two different ways, right? Then on top of that, this person is a child of Shango, this person is a child of Ogun. They're going to have to deal with their Odus a different way. Get what I'm saying? Like this, that's the beauty. It's so like Ifa especially is so unique to the individual that's practicing. That's why people love Ifa. Because yeah, are there principles that apply? Sure. But when we get to the nitty-gritty of the tradition, it's not like that. The things that govern you are different than the things that govern her. the energies are going to play on you differently. That's the tradition. So yeah, family. That is how I got to be forced to answer the call of Ifa. It was a beautiful thing. You know, I learned a lot of new things, right? But I knew a lot of things as well. You get what I'm saying? But I knew a lot of things. A lot of my Babalawu friends, man, they be trying to push me to be owl so bad. Brujo, man, I'll take you to Nigeria. We just gonna do this, 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 and I just be chilling. You know what I'm saying? But they be pushing me because they know I got the ashe. When I taught a lot of things to Babas too, because there's central truths to working with spirits that brujos learn naturally through life. You get what I'm saying? So it's deep, yo. But all in all, it's a beautiful thing. And so I'm happy to have been able to share that with you all. Make sure, you can click the link in the description if you want readings from me, guidance, insight into your life. If you want to join the mentorship, you can join the links in the description. There's different type of packages that you can have monthly with the mentorship, just all in what you want, all in what you're ready for, right? And with that being said, I'll get with y'all on the next one, or double.